be seeing NIP and Copenhagen Wolves battle it out later in, of course, the final of that amateur tournament. But what we've got coming up first here is, of course, the semifinals of the pro tournament. So let's take a look at that bracket. First off, we had Gambit Gaming winning over the Red, and they'll be going up against Cloud9 today. And then we had CLG getting the best of Team Turquality Blue, as they will be going up against Fnatic later. So two fantastic EU-NA matchups today, and our first game of the day will be Cloud9 versus Gambit. And let's take a look at that Cloud9 roster to begin with. Of course, they are the only team, or one of the only teams in this tournament that haven't had any lineup changes. And D-Man, is that something you think will help them here?
Absolutely. I mean, let's not forget, in the quarterfinals match against Fnatic, they were very, very close to getting through to the semi-final. It was so tight, but instead wasn't to be, possibly down to just one level 1 unlucky visit going the wrong way up the river. It could have been completely different. We could have seen Cloud9 making it through to the semi-finals with Royal Club. So they really are probably, for me, the favorites for this tournament, because they're the most steady lineup. Everybody's had a roster change as far as I'm aware coming into this one. Yeah, CLG, Fnatic, obviously Reckless has come in. So there's a whole lot of roster changes. The only team in this tournament that are now the most stable lineup. They've been together pretty much as a unit for a year, getting into the Summer LCS, blitzing their way through the Summer LCS, blowing everyone out of the water. So they are clearly the favorites for this tournament for me.
Do you agree that they are the favorites? Or?
I think they're definitely up there, because at World Finals, some people had some comments on perhaps on their attitude, because they steamrolled the NA LCS coming into Worlds very confident, and there was some critique there, but I have to say credit where credit is due. Cloud9 has fixed all those issues. They have Jack backing them up, like an amazing manager. Like, he's doing that all on the side of his day job as well. And they have the entire package. They have strong players, good teamwork. They all like each other still. They're playing together. They perform well. They get the good backing from a good manager. So why wouldn't they be the favorites for this tournament?
Yeah, absolutely, very hopeful there. But of course, they're going to be up against another European powerhouse first. So let's take a look at that lineup for Gambit Gaming. And as we know, they've come here back with the support they have played with for so long before he went to Team Cursed, and now he's back. Edward, Crepo, were you particularly impressed by his game yesterday, or do you think it was just a test run for him?
I think you can't really judge that game too much. I mean, it was, after all, Gambit toying with its prey. All respect to the opposing team there, but they weren't on the same level. Probably a good test run for them to play against the Gambit. But I think Gambit just warmed up, and we'll see which Gambit shows up today. Definitely will be strong with Eddie again. I don't think they've lost too much of their synergy. They had this very this significant playstyle, that very distinct playstyle rather, that see hero, kill hero back in season 2, and I just can't wait to see that again.
Yeah, and D-Man, for specific lane matchup, something I immediately think about is, of course, Meteos versus Diamond. What are your thoughts on that?
I tell you what, Kobe probably is up at home, like staying up all night to watch these matches. I know how excited he gets about the jungle matches, but talking about steady lineups, this is a team that was together for effectively 2 years before Eddie decided to go to Curse. He's come back. The lineup is back there. They finished 3rd in season 2. They've won countless IEM stops, and of course, they got to the quarterfinals just like Cloud9 did. So they're effectively on an equal par with Cloud9, except they've pulled in a better player, some might argue, over Voidal. They pulled Edward back in there. So don't rule Gambit out of this one. We can't take too much about yesterday, like Crepo said, against the Red. Competition-wise, they're not on the same level as Cloud9. They toyed with their prey. Some of the stuff they were doing, you'd be like, they probably wouldn't do that, say, if they were up against, I don't know, SKT or something like that. They're definitely an interesting matchup. Gambit, for me, are actually the underdogs, which is a weird thing for me to say, because it's Gambit. But Cloud9 just look so dominant. I still feel at the Worlds, if it wasn't for that just one unfortunate thing, it could have gone very different with Fnatic.
Yeah, and talking about Worlds, do you think it has any influence that Gambit, of course, went through the group stages and had a little bit more experience playing some teams and American teams there, or?
It all depends. It depends what team you are. If you get more from your experience, I think Cloud9 was a little lacking on level 1 there. They got exposed on their weaknesses, but there's only a very small sample size, and it could have gone either way, as Demon said. I mean, we can always go like, what if?
It's true.
But Worlds doesn't even matter right now, because it's already so long ago. It's people that could have been practicing. Maybe Cloud9 has been bunking down, practiced really hard, or Gambit has. We'll never really know what they've been doing in their spare time. Although I know Cloud9 had a little bit of a break. I'm not too sure on Gambit. They always practice for IEMs because they don't like losing very much.
They don't like losing. I mean, Gambit, let's not forget, have been up against America's #1 so many times before. Obviously, TSM back at Kiev. they smashed them. It wasn't even close. You know, this is a Russian team. It's Russia or America. There's a little bit of rivalry. I'm sure you guys at home may know the history, but these guys will want to win, that's for sure.
Is there a certain lineup that you think will go definitely in one or the other team's favor?
I'm just interested to see, like, you were talking about the jungle earlier, Diamond Procs against Medias, but it's directly going to affect the mid lane as well. What if Alex each gets his strong, like, dual champions against High, but Alex each gets a blue buff on top of that one? Is that going to, like, spill over and then just get him so much stronger that Alex is going to start roaming? Because if he plays the likes of Kha'Zix, he's known to just farm up really well early and then just start roaming and punish those other lanes as well. And it's such an interesting dynamic. I can't just wait to see how it all plays out.
And let's not forget, Edward's been in America throughout the summer split. He's seen Cloud9 firsthand with Curse. He knows exactly what to expect. So he's going to have imparted that knowledge with Gambit, and maybe they're going to be more prepared than we think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw High in his match history. A lot of Riven, and Alex has just stated that he hates to play against that champion. So maybe we will see that. It'll be very interesting. Finally, you say Cloud9?
I think Cloud9. I hate to go against Gambit. It's the first time I think I've ever probably gone against Gambit, but I think Cloud9.
Capo?
To keep it interesting, and because we lost to Gambit at the European Championship, I'm just going to go for Gambit here.
All right, good. Well, we'll be seeing in just a minute, but first we're going to go over to our commentators for the first time today. It's going to be Joe Miller and Jason Kaplan. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Shocks, and welcome to the Cassides. We're going to bring in you all the action from this first semi-final best-of-3 game. Cloud9 versus Gambit. Jason, America versus Europe. It's going to be a good one.
All I can say is one word. America.
I already said that word.
But I said it in the American kind of way.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm actually really excited to see this because obviously I'm from the US, so I have a little bit of that behind me. But, you know, I've been kind of favoring Europe lately, and Gambit, to me, they always show up day one at an Intel Extreme Masters and kind of just have some fun, you know, some enjoyment. But day two, that's the real serious day. That's where you saw them take down Azubu Blaze and Azubu Frost back at Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice. And I think they're looking to do the same thing here today. Yeah, the Gambit have always been a team. I mean, Demon mentioned it there as well. The fact is that they've only ever lost one Intel Extreme Masters event that they've turned up at, and that was the World Championships. Now, they're going to want to get back on that horse. This is, you know, Intel Extreme Masters is almost their event, so to say. And against an American team, this is not a game that Gambit are ever going to take lightly. I still wonder, though, you know, this whole change back to Edward there, it's kind of back to the old lineup, obviously, into the old Gambit style, but have they had enough time with him? Yeah.
Because he is still a new player, technically, I guess.
I mean, because you would imagine that with the changes he's undergone, going to America, playing with Curse for the entire summer split, then coming back here into a different meta, into a different style, into his, you know, home language kind of thing. I really don't know how they're going to play here, because as we saw yesterday, I wasn't 100% convinced on their play, like their game overall. Obviously, they're having a little bit of fun, but it just wasn't the convincing, overwhelming Gambit that we normally see.
I have to say that Cloud9 do have a little bit of an edge today, though, because Meteos is wearing my glasses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because it's cloudy out. Yeah.
Okay, Jason. I mean, it is technically cloudy out, and they are Cloud9, so I suppose you're not wrong on that. But no, he forgot his glasses, so I actually gave him mine because I'm such a nice guy. Good guy, Joe Miller, helping out America in this one. But we're going to just take you through it. Obviously, it's going to be a best-of-3 here. Winner will go through into the grand final to play either CLG or Fnatic.
I think someone's
big yawn.
tired.
That is a big yawn.
I don't think he has the cameras on him right now.
No, I don't think he did either. Either way, get it out there before the game gets going, that's for sure. But yeah, best of 3. Cloud9 have first ban, first pick in game number 1. And we are going to get into those bans and picks here because things are already rolling. And I can tell you that Cloud9, they've already banned out one champion, and that is Evelynn. And you saw a little bit of a smirk on Alex and Diamond's face there. That's I don't think they're too worried that Evelynn's been banned.
Yeah, they've baited that ban out actually every game so far here in this tournament. And I like this because it's a whole Meteos versus Diamond. It's like the best jungler in North America versus the best jungler in Europe going head-to-head here. I want to see how both of them really interact, and I wouldn't be surprised, as we already do see on the screen, some other bans coming in targeted at that, with the Lee Sin being taken away, as Diamond was one of the first ones to really show that, to really do extremely well with. And I really can't wait for this game to get underway. It's going to be such an amazing set.
Shyvana's surely got to be somewhere in the mix here, and as I say that, Shyvana gets banned out by Gambit, so obviously not wanting Cloud9 to go in there early, and they take the Renekton away from Darien. Obviously that is that is his go-to champion as well.
And I want to know if they're going to ban out maybe Rumble here, because Balls plays quite a bit of Rumble. He doesn't really care too much in his lane if he gets a lot of farm. He's just more dependent on using that ultimate in these team fights. But instead, they do go a different route. They don't want to see Balls or Meteos on that Elise. And, you know, Meteos, he's a very unique jungler to me. He's really similar to Diamond, but he's more selfish, which works out really well for his team because he gets so farmed, they feed so much to him, he gets his buffs as much as possible, and he really can carry it out. The one game I'm thinking of in particular, he played Nocturne, I think in like the last week of NALCS, and he built pure damage on him, dove straight into the back on the AD carry, blew them up instantly, and it worked every single time.
Well, your Rumble talk there wasn't too far off the mark. That'll be first pick here for Cloud9, and not wasting any time to get that one locked in. This Vi will be locked in by Diamond there as well, as we pretty much expected as well. And also, Annie picked up here for Edward, not wasting any time here, as Darian seems to be in good. In fact, Gambit just looked generally happy today. It's always a good sign for them.
And a scary sign if you're playing against them. Yeah. Really it is. And we saw Edward playing it obviously yesterday, did phenomenally well, and got a double, I think even maybe a triple in there or two. Perfect champion for him to get some kills secured, as he would say. And the Vi, I mean, it's kind of like, if it's not broken, why fix it? Their comp was working really well yesterday. Diamond was doing a great job of counter jungling, doing some really great ganks, and they're going with it again.
So Zed was left open in this one. It's going to be taken by High, along with Lucian here for Sneaky.
This makes me wonder, are we going to see a Riven pick? Because I believe Alex has said many times he does not like Riven at all. He doesn't like the champion, he doesn't like the abilities that she can do, but she's so strong and she's a really good counter to Zed, and this has to be a bait out of Cloud9 with that big fad coming out recently in Korea.
Well, we'll see about this one, whether Alex feels confident on that one. We saw yesterday the Riven pick by SK Gaming 2 games in a row, which, you know, Jesus, it's his first tournament, a little bit of nerves were definitely in there, but that Riven just didn't work out for him whatsoever. Like, we can pretty much just forget that one. Riven not got the best win ratio here at Intellect Extreme Masters Cologne so far. But what are Gambit going to go with? They've got Annie for that support role. We've got Vi in the jungle. Kha'Zix's picked up here. And Genja is going to play Jinx as well.
Yeah, they were really contemplating this. They were in the timer down to about 3 seconds left. And Alexich Kha'Zix, I mean, it is so awesome to see. He got so many, I think 1 or 2 pentakills during the summer split of LCS with it. He is such a monster on that champion. And he's so great at knowing when he can start roaming and when he can push his limits to pick up a kill and still jump away at the last second. And this is going to be a really cool lineup because I remember seeing this same exact matchup with them versus SK when Ocelot was playing Zed in the mid lane, and Ocelot got unfortunately destroyed by Alex in that one just because of the Kha'Zix range and obviously, you know, the healing potential right there.
I would have put it in different words, actually, that one.
I'm gonna be very blunt. I mean, it was a very one-sided match, I'll say, but he definitely made up for it the next time. But the Jinx, I'm happy to see Genja finally playing some other AD carries. He was so stagnant on Varus and Misfortune through spring and summer. He's finally spreading out, even used Lucian yesterday.
Well, we see here Nocturne Lulu being picked up as the final 2 picks. That Nocturne, talked about it before, one of Meteor's stronger junglers. And Lulu, we'll see how this one all fits in there. It's not going to be Shaco. It's probably not going to be Teemo either. It's good to have Edward back.
It is. It really is. We do have to point out, there is one little thing about Nocturne that's different in this patch. His Q, it actually is a little bit skinnier, so you don't get the full attack speed that you normally would see off the graphics. So that actually really surprises me that Meteos is going to be using him in this game, but it also shows, I guess, his confidence in it at the same time.
And we see Lissandra pick up there finally. That's going to be going over to Darian. Now, what do we think about that pick? I mean, we saw Renekton banned out, Shen, Shyvana taken away. That's 3 big champions in there for Darian. What about Lissandra?
He's actually played Lissandra a couple of times and did fairly well on it every single time, so it's going to work out, you know, pretty good, I think, on my part. And they have a really good composition for Lissandra to work well into. You have the Vi go in, Lissandra can come in, ulti someone down, you have the Bear Sun coming out of Edward, and then Alex has the ability to just roam around, pick up kills in the middle of the fight. And the thing is, they have a high damage composition. That allows the resets that makes Kha'Zix so damn deadly.
And we should say as well, they've got champions that can move quickly and over walls as well, which we may see something happening from that side of things. And Lissandra has an escape, which I'm sure Darian will be happy about as well.
I do like the Lulu, though, just to touch that really quickly for Cloud9, because it's like an anti-burst kind of ultimate coming out of her, so they can stop that first reset to come in. And I think that was picked specifically to stop the reset factor coming in for Alexich.
So we're going to get into game 1 here shortly. Of course, as I said, best of 3. We've got $18,500 up for grabs here in the Pro Tournament. Off of first place, obviously there is a bit more than 18,500. Second is 7,500 and 5,000 for third, fourth. So all the teams here in these semi-finals got $5,000 basically already in the bank. It's just a case of if they can make it 18.5 by the end of the day.
There's also a lot of pride at stake here. I mean, it's basically America versus Europe at this point in the entire tournament. And I want to see which team's really going to step up here. Like Rizzo mentioned before, Cloud9 really been practicing here. Or Gambit, they just picked up Edward. They've had 2 weeks of practice, but not really boot camp. So if they're going to shine, if they're really going to show anything here, this is the time to do it.
This is the time to do it, and we are going to be jumping into game number 1. It's Cloud9 versus Gambit Gaming, Europe versus NA. Probably going to be saying that a lot today because the other semi-final is exactly the same with CLG taking on Fnatic. That will, of course, be coming up just after this game. We've got the amateur final after that, and then we'll move into the pro grand final to finish off the day here. And a lot of League of Legends action coming your way, guys, so you might as well clear out that calendar and stay home all day.
I support that fully. I mean, there's so many great games coming out through the day, and we already do see both teams just kind of setting up across the map, just keeping that little middle line across the river, staying on their side. But we do see Edward going for a ward here. Meteos does spot it, but Gambit don't know it has been spotted so far, and we already see a lot of wards being invested by both these teams.
Ball's at this point down by that Tribush. So at this stage of the game, it looks like they want to go for that 2v1, or it may end up in 2v2, looking at how things are setting up here. In the top lane, we see the recall from Lulu. Ball's staying down by that Tribush area, and you can see that Genja is already on that top side of the map as well. Doesn't look like we're going to see anything risky here from either team at the start of it.
Yeah, I mean, in the best of 3, there's no reason to do it in map 1. And I like these lane swaps coming in, or the potential of them for Gambit's side, because they realize how deadly Balls is on this Rumble. He's 7 for 7 with a 6.2 KDA during the summer split. It doesn't matter if he's in a 1v1 or in a 1v2, he still comes out very well in these team fights because of the use of his ultimates. He uses it so perfectly every single time. It allows his team to really allow him to get some money and get some items going. But with these wards coming down, it looks like Gambit finally spot where the AD carry support is for Cloud9, so this is their chance. Do they want to pull a lane swap last second, or do they want to commit to these lanes? And it looks like they're going to go for that.
Yeah, it looks that way. Darian is still waiting down on the bottom side of the map here by that blue buff. He's going to be helping out Diamond here at level 1. Actually, Edward and Genja going down towards the Cloud9 blue buff, and they've already got the stun in there on towards Balls. It's going to be a lot of early damage. Meteor's taking attack as well, and that Golem is not going very, very low, not within smite range right now. You see more damage coming in from Genja and Edward, putting out pure harassment at this point of things. And they forced Cloud9 away from it.
And they weren't attacking it because they wanted to force Meteos to go in there, get a couple of hits, take some more damage from the Golem and the harassed before he gets smited. So that delays him quite a bit, and we know, and Gambit knows just from that play alone, how strong Meteos is, and they're trying to set him behind. And with that little bit of a charade they pulled off, Diamond is very far ahead currently.
Well, the good thing about bringing Edo, kind of loaning him out to America for one season, almost for one split, is the fact that he's going to come back with a lot of knowledge about these teams. Obviously doing the research while he was on Curse and playing against these teams on a regular basis certainly gives a lot to the Gambit game, and we can see that they're going in here for that blue buff. Meteos is still on the bottom side of his jungle, done the red, and this is going to be taken away. This is a 3-buff start for Gambit.
And Diamond also used Smite on his own blue buff just to kind of make sure it would be up if he went for it. And that is a 3-buff trade for Gambit, taking away everything they possibly can from Cloud9. Is even High getting low middle here, Fiend forced to flash away. And I guess it shows that Gambit, they came prepared for this game.
Yeah, we do see, though, Meteos visiting this bottom lane and just checked out the enemy blue buff and realized, okay, that one's already gone. They've lost theirs. The red buff, of course, did get picked up by Diamond. He's going to go in towards High, who'd already flashed. Damage coming down. Alex jumps into this one, but he's going to go down. A costly mistake here for Gambit. High picks up first blood.
Now, that's really unfortunate because if Diamond did have that red buff from his own side of the jungle, he probably would have been able to pick up that kill, but throwing away something like that, you could not allow a Zed to get rolling here. And High, he is so deadly on that Zed, and he's going to be able to roam around a little bit earlier, but already one turret going down the bottom lane. Ball's going to be heading up towards the top side to get some farm here, and Gambit looks like they're committed to get this turret down.
Yeah, should probably as well, although Balls is now moving in there, and we'll be able to clear out this wave pretty quickly. But look at this, 4 minutes and 10 seconds into the game. They got that first kill now in the mid lane. We see that Diamond has spotted. Okay, guys, they're doing Dragon here. We're 4 minutes 20 seconds in. They're doing Dragon already. Meteor's going super low from that one. He will have to back away, and just the presence there of Diamond able to stop that Dragon attempt being completed. Top turret's going to go down to level up the turret count.
It was a good idea in the end, too, by Cloud9 to go for that Dragon, but we still see some dueling happening middle. They're going head-to-head here, Joe. They want blood.
Yeah, High and Alex Itch not messing around, are they, today? The start of this one being explosive. High, of course, picked up first blood, somehow surviving as well whilst doing that. Brilliant play out of him. And now Lemon Nation actually coming up in towards the Gambit jungle as well. And it looks like they're going to pull back and try and defend this red buff. Edward came down from the top lane. Wants to make sure that Lemon Nation is not able to put down too much harassment onto his jungler.
Yeah, it was a really interesting move for him to keep it up for so long, but he will be able to pick it up now, and that will give him distinct timers on exactly when to take away anything from Cloud9. And like I was saying before, that little duel happened in middle. Cloud9 trying to take the Dragon, because Meteos was already put behind with losing his blue, with being forced only onto his red. They wanted the experience, they wanted that money to kind of get him back in the game, because right now, he's only at 14 CS to the 29 of Diamond.
Yeah, not going to be ideal for him, but let's see how that changes as things move on. Bottom lane now, we see Sneaky and Lemon Nation having that tower down. Are going to be freezing out this wave, and the back off there with Kha'Zix now going top, so we're going to be seeing some switching going on. Almost said a switcheroo, which is now, of course, an ability for Jinx. Can't say that anymore.
And yeah, it looks like he will be going up here because he's only level 4 to level 5 of high. He almost has that Brutalizer done. He will be 6, obviously, before Alex. And it looks like they're going to do the 80 carry support middle potentially, but right now, as you see on that mini-map, Darren's even coming down. Diamond's coming into this middle lane. Maybe they want to go for a gank on a high who just has hit level 6.
Yeah, it is ridiculously strong already at this point with that first blood in there with almost 40 CS under his belt. And we can see that he is wandering here. They want to shut down Alex Itch.
They don't know.
Level 4. Balls here at level 5. Is he going to hit 6 with that wave? No, not quite, but High is moving up there. It's going to be spotted here by Diamond, and Alex knows now that he's going to be in trouble. He doesn't have flash available. Will be able to jump away from things, and High, I think, realizing with the presence of Diamond, going to be too risky, backs off.
Yeah, luckily for Alex, Diamond did go for those double golems and did spot High going right up there. Well, that would have been a for sure kill, and you see Cloud9 where their kind of focus is going. High, he wants to keep Alex out of this game. If he keeps roaming around like that, he's easily going to be able to do it. And with the wards they have down, with the lack of wards that Gambit has, Gambit can't see Cloud9 rotating currently. And that allows Cloud9 to have the advantage around the map and to pick up kills unless Gambit can stop this.
Edward now just making sure that they've got vision of the Dragon. It's not something that they want Cloud9 to sneak in there and do. We saw them, of course, at 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, starting off the Dragon earlier on. Blue buff here, going to be done and taken away by Diamond, so not going to be giving that one over to Darian, who maybe you would have, you would be able to argue could have utilized it as well.
I'm thinking because of that, and Diamond having the blue timer for Cloud9, they might send Alex down from the top lane and try to take that away and keep Meteos without the blue. It's a very likely possibility, but it will be up fairly shortly. And Alex is finally level 6, so he will have quite a bit of damage. And then you have the 80 carry support mid lane. With them there, you have a 4-man advantage to the only 2, potentially 3 of Cloud9, so it's a very likely possibility this is going to happen.
Let's have a look down some of the early items here. 80 carries pretty much identical between the two of them. Vamp Scepter plus Doran's Blade for both. No boots yet, though, for Sneaky. He's 10 CS in the lead over Genja. So we'll have the cash to actually go back and spend soon. He's sat on 1,100 gold, as is High in the mid lane, who's got the workings of that Brutalizer already done.
And Diamond, he's sticking around for that blue buff. He wants to be able to make this play, and right now, with that pink ward coming down from Elimination, they're going to be able to take a Dragon here, so they're going to trade that for a blue buff, which obviously isn't really a good trade in the end, but a great play by Cloud9, especially for Elimination, who doesn't really buy too many pink wards, but when he does, they're definitely working out and picking up a Dragon off the back of it.
Nice pick up there, but are they going to lose this top tower? Ball's the man to defend that one. He's just hit level 6, going to throw the equalizer down straight away, but he's going to be jumped on here, trying desperately to get back to the cover of his turret. Both Alex and Diamond, though, very, very healthy still. Minion wave coming in with them as well. They're able to secure the first kill of this game for Gambit, and that leaves us tied at 1-1 in kills, 1-1 in turrets, but that may change here. That inner turret taking a lot of damage, but Meteos coming around to cover.
Yeah, with Balls committing to that turret, trying to keep it alive, he ends up losing his life. They're going to lose middle turret because Gambit are grouping up around the map, and they have all 5 members centered around the mid lane currently. They might even push this turret down because right now Balls hasn't been able to get back to lane just yet, and his ultimate is still down, which is such a crucial part for them chasing anyone on Gambit.
So, more damage to come here. And towards that turret, actually being tanked up here a little bit by Genja. He's not too worried about having to take some of that damage. He's got the trade onto the tower. You can always heal it back up, but that tower's not going to be able to. On the bottom side there, Diamond just stealing away a Wraith camp as well. They're going to be headed home to shop up because there's 1,700 gold on Alex, 1,100 on Diamond. There was a good chunk on Genja as well, and we can see that they come back in here. Hex Drinker picked up for Alex, it's plus 2 Doran's Blades now and a Longsword, and the Berserker Greaves plus another Doran's Blade for Genja.
And right now you're seeing Meteos in that top lane just trying to farm away. They're feeding a lot of CS over to him, and he's still down compared to Diamond right now. You know, Diamond, who is doing such a great job this game of counter-jungling as much as possible. Meteos has yet to be able to have his own blue buff or anything else besides red at all so far, so they're trying to keep him out of the game, and right now Gambit have done such a phenomenal job of it, and being 10.5 minutes in, gold's basically even.
So push back here from Cloud9. We'll see if they can actually get this turret low. We've got Darian here to defend things, throwing out the claw, which always causes you to back off, never quite knowing if he's going to follow that up, especially a player like Darian, who's completely unpredictable.
Yeah, I think he is one of the most unpredictable players in the game right now, at least in Europe. And one thing I'm looking at right now, though, Joe, do you remember the old style of Genja who would just split push all day, get 300 CS, get the money, come up to these fights with the items? That might be a bad thing for Gambit if he goes for that kind of style again, because Cloud9, they have such a great team to dive on top of Gambit into a turret. Obviously, you have Edward there to kind of persuade it a little bit, as well as Darian. But with the Nocturne, with the Rumble, with the Zed, they can blow some up very quickly. And then you have the Lulu, like we're saying before, to keep them alive. So Genja, he's got to stick with his team a little bit. And you're also seeing Hai go for a split push himself with Meteos backing him up. And Darian, he might be in trouble.
See about that one. Hai moving in there. Ping's coming down though, so they've seen that Hai is moving in towards Darian's position. And in the meantime, Diamond is counter jungling here. Might get caught out from this one though. Ball's coming around. Sneaky came in there as well, and Diamond actually going back aggressive on towards Balls, trying to delay him, I think, there, because Alex was pushing down, but they dive in on towards Darian. He will ulti onto himself. That's going to give him a bit of time, but the death mark is down. Can he get away from this one? Great micro play from Darian, but the ignite is ticking. Hai picks up his second kill.
But he almost killed both of them, and he bought so much time for his team that right now we see Diamond going head-to-head against Lemon.
He uses the wild growth on himself, though, and now Ball's coming in. Sneaky there as well. Alex down to half HP. There's a great equalizer. Alex stuck on it, as we see the ultimate coming out of Sneaky as well, but the rest of Gambit have come in from around the back. Genja and Edward able to sew that one up. This inner turret is going down. Gambit picking that one up. And in the meantime, Cloud9 weren't able to finish off the one in the bottom lane.
And Hai and Meteos are still going. They can lose an inhibitor right here if Gambit does continue to push, because Darian will be able to stop them as he's coming down from the respawn. And it looks like Gambit, they want to commit for this. They can probably dive on Lemon right now because he doesn't have his ultimate available, or even exhaust.
Are they going to dive, though? Are they going to play that risk? Polymorph coming in there. Balls is now back in the action. And Gambit decides enough is enough there. We're going to back away from this one, but it's a nice pickup there. I think they'll be quite happy to trade the inner turret in the mid lane for the inner turret in that bottom lane. And
they got the inhibitor turret down to 1,000 life, so they could go for a push onto that turret whenever they want to. A really explosive game so far with not a lot of kills coming in, but so much strategy behind it. And Diamond still hasn't donated a blue buff over to anyone, but it looks like Darian might be able to get the first one of the game for himself here. But will Diamond and will Gambit keep the blue buff away yet again from Cloud9 is the real question.
Well, Cloud9 pushing back here. Look at Edward coming around the side. They're lined up perfectly here for him, but he doesn't have Tibbers available.
But just look at the threat,
a problem for him.
Look at the threat, though. You saw Cloud9 respect it immediately and started backing away, and they didn't know that Gambit was nowhere near to back him up in the meantime. That just shows the power of Edward and Annie.
He might be disguised as a little girl, but it's still Eddie at this point. You can cause problems for any player, that's for sure. But they've held on to that turret, and as you said, the presence, the respect that they have for him there, not allowing them to get through. One thing that worries me from Gambit's side of things, though, is Hai on Zed here. We know once the Zed gets rolling, how dangerous it is. Already got that Blade of the Ruin King sat at 2 for 0 and almost at 100 CS as well.
Yeah, we all know Zed can be very, very devastating if he can split push and 1v1 anyone. The problem is, though, if Gambit force team fights, look at the CC they have to lock him down. I mean, Vi ultimate, you have a Lissandra ultimate, you have anti-stun. You can keep him out of the fight. You can stop him from getting the extra damage on that ultimate applied and blow him up immediately. So he has to invest into a GA very soon if he wants to be able to survive in these fights, or at least some sort of Mert treads or something here. But Gambit, they have such a good lineup here to counter the Zed without even having to use a Riven.
So I think Diamond is... This is a very much a pride game for Diamond as well, because we were talking earlier about, you know, Meteos widely regarded as the best jungler in North America. Diamond wants to topple that guy. You know, they have, I think, a similar play style, we can say, in some respects, as Diamond once again was in there taking away as much as he could from the top side of the Cloud9